You know, the Roman Empire was eventually divided between the East and the West. Um, Constantinople, named after the Emperor Constantine, was the capital of the Western Empire, which became known as the Byzantine, if you remember in your history. This is a history class, by the way, so you're going to get a lot of history here tonight. The Byzantine Empire was because that city was originally called Byzantium. That's why such a name. Constantine was, of course, a famous Roman emperor in the sense that he was a Christian. And although shortly after that, Constantine's grandson was the ruler, and then after that, there was actually an Julian the Apostate was the ruler there. Very interesting, actually. Julian, the emperor, was raised as a Christian, but rejected the Christian faith and brought back a resurgence of the Roman gods and the Greek philosophy, and thus he was called Julian the Apostate. That's why he was called that. But then shortly after that, after he died in fighting the Persians, another emperor came who established Christianity as the predominant religion of the Roman Empire. And now that's an important factor there. And so now, with the Western Empire being Christian, the predominant population of Palestine or Jerusalem became Christian because the Jews were not allowed to live there, and they were continued to be expelled. Jews were not allowed to live there for quite some years, actually. Then, when the Eastern Empire collapsed, many of the Christians came to came to Israel, establishing Christian presence even greater. All this led then later on to eventually being defeated by the Muslim rule that came around the 600s. If you know a little bit of your history, you might know that the Temple Mount is one of the highest or holiest sites of Islam, because Muhammad, according to their teachings, flew to Israel to the Temple Mount, and then in one night flew back, and then they believe, therefore, that is the farthest mosque. And so that later was built into the Dome of the Rock. In the late 600s, early 700s, the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. So when you see Israel today, the famous view of the Golden Dome is a shrine called the Dome of the Rock Shrine. It's not a mosque; it's a shrine. And then next to it, if you're on the Mount of Olives, you'll see the Dome of the Rock. Right next to it, to the south, is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. That is actually the mosque. And that is sitting right on the Temple Mount today. On the western side is the foundational wall, and that is the Western Wall, which is the holiest site in Israel. Jews, of course, pray there at the Western Wall because it is the last remaining aspect of the temple that is still in Israel today. And if you go to Israel, you'll see very famously, it's one of the famous sites of Israel, is the Western Wall. Many Jews go there, they read scriptures, they pray, they put little prayer pieces of paper in the cracks of the wall. And so it's a holy, holy site. So with the Muslim now ruling, Jews were allowed to return. Interestingly, Jews finally were allowed to return to Jerusalem. And this continued some time. Then later, the rise of the Crusades, of course, happened. The Crusaders arose out of Europe to capture the Holy Land back for the Christians. And so this, of course, was about 1000, let's say AD or so, for about 250, 300 years. The Crusades happened,